The chief guest, pro-vice chancellor, deans from different schools, my dear professors and students. I take the honor of anchoring this particular evening. Uh, it is very interesting to understand the kind of network our chief guest has got. We had a short talk and very impressive. Before we go on to this future proofing of our universities for complex digital world, I would like to inform you that the generation today is 100 times better than us in adopting the technology and 200 times smarter than advancing it. So, as universities which are preparing the resources for the industry, we need to be much more smarter than the kids and the industry's requirement. The recent report that is being published, more recent in 2019, there was a report, a market survey which clearly said India would be in the forefront when it comes to AI. And any company that adopts AI will increase its cash flow by about 122 times. And those that follow the AI adoption will have a 10% increase in their cash flow. Having said that, the report also furthers its finding to say India would be ahead of all its competitors in the digital manufacturing industry by about 47%. And we will be lagging by about 5% only, which means we have a huge challenge as a university in front of us in supplying the resources that are required. Today's topic is very relevant to that, and we have the most competent person for it. We extend a very warm welcome to him. And I request, let me also have the honor of introducing you. Mr.Navnit Nakra is a former CEO, Indian region at OnePlus. He stepped down from his position to follow his passion before taking over as a CEO in October 2021. He has led OnePlus India as a VP and Head of Sales and VP, Chief Strategy Officer, in his distinguished career in the technology and BFSI sector, spanning of about 2 decades and more. Mr. Nakra has been the Head of Affordability with Apple for more than 3 years. Earlier in his career, he was associated with Citibank for 15 years in leadership positions, and he is an alumnus of Harvard Business School. The program in specific is Leadership Development Program and MBA from Faculty of Management Studies, Delhi. I'm sorry for reading this out.
No, wonderful, thank you.
I request our VC to please deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Dr. Subhashri. I wish to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Nakra. The vision of our university is to be a world-class, tech-driven, global university for liberal education. We wish to be in the forefront of knowledge creation. The School of Business has instituted a CXO lecture series. We have hosted chairman and managing directors of several banks, including Canara Bank, PayU Nearby, or even Swiggy, the COO Swiggy, Yes Bank, and many other. And they came, interacted with our faculty and students, and our students were able to learn from their own practical journeys. Particularly, Swiggy COO explained how during the COVID pandemic time, he turned around the company when there was a during the lockdown, and there was a social distancing, and the business went down, and our students learned from his practical experience, and we are really looking forward to hearing from you on a very important topic of future proofing of our universities. Future is unpredictable, and in the light of this technological development, can the future proofing be possible at all? And what should we be doing in this direction? And I know you have a flight to Delhi this evening, so I will be brief. And we want to host you again at our campus, and we look forward to a continuous engagement with you. And we used to collaborate with you, and our university looks forward to a long engagement with you. And with these words, I once again warmly welcome you, and I thank the president of our trust, Dr. Shyam, who connected us, and We hope to see you again at our campus.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. I would request our Pro-Vice Chancellor to please set the agenda for the discussion.
Good afternoon. Very brief, he's short of time. Thank you for being here. And Dr. Nakra, Mr. Nakra, and I've been discussing about various forms of collaborations. And he himself is very keen to help us with our corporate strategy for the university. So he has requested not one visit but 2 more visits.
I promised.
Yeah, so he would help the senior leadership try, and he's been, instrumental with ISB, with Plaksha, as well as with Ashoka University. So he's got a wide experience in terms of working with top class universities. So some ideas and thoughts will emerge. But today, the talk is very much about what's happening all around. And in my conversation with him while coming from his hotel to here, I was asking him some very dumb, naive questions about new startups, the evaluations and others, and he kept on probing me about what's happening in terms of the buyer behavior in the online era. And then he was able to flip my questions into saying that, then those organizations, since you're hooked onto them, they don't need valuation, they're not chasing value, they're not looking at profitability, they're looking at completely different levels. So his experience, we're all waiting to listen to you, sir. And thank you on the behalf of Trust and everybody else that you took time off. Being in Bangalore, it's always difficult to travel from one part to the another, but you have multiple other meetings. So without further ado, all yours, and we will be more than happy to listen to you.
Thank you. So first and foremost, I want to thank Dr. Shyam Shetty for getting us connected, but Professor Murthy, Professor Dwarka, ma'am, thank you for those kind words. So I'm Navneet, and I have to share with you as I entered the campus, in fact, not only as I entered the campus, but when I spoke with Professor Dwarka and how quickly this session came about in such a short time, it gave me a very positive first impression that this university is far different from many of the traditional bureaucratic universities, which is waiting for a loud noise when somebody is knocking their door. I think the way I have been embraced, the way I've been welcomed for such a small session makes me wonder that what the vision is and what the opportunity is of this university. So I am truly humbled, and it's absolutely my privilege to be here. And I have made a commitment, but I'm going to make a promise, Professor Dwarka, that the little of what I have seen and heard in your room, sir, you have a fan in me for life now. And the last 3 years of exponential journey, I hope that somewhere we can make it even bigger in the years to come. So I am truly privileged and honored to be here. Thank you so much for taking out time to attend to this session. The lines between the students and faculty are blurring now. And ma'am, you mentioned that many students are far sharper than the faculty, and this is a quotation I have heard over the years: that students and children are far sharper than their parents, right? Which is absolutely true. And it reminded me of a quotation by Mark Twain, which was, recounting his early years as a teenager. And he remarked that when I was 15, I thought my parents were fools. When I turned 25, I realized how much they had learned in the last 10 years. So students and children and faculty and parents all find a level playing field over a period of 8 to 10 years, right? So for students who are out there, if you hear that you are smarter than your teachers, take it with a pinch of salt, right? Because there'll be some more students 10 years down the line. And faculty members who are here, I am truly honored to be in your presence and to learn from you. So what I've done today is, I thought I was addressing non-students. So this is a student's perspective to the faculty. But next time when I'm here, I'm going to give the faculty's perspective to the students, right? So what we'll do today is we'll talk more about how I see young students first-time jobbers coming out of great universities who have worked with me in Apple and OnePlus at Citibank over the years. And I wanted to paint a picture about what the challenges that students are, or what passion students are chasing today, so that a university environment can become future ready, right? Future ready may be a better thing than future proof. So these are some personal perspectives. Some of them, I am sure the students out here may have voiced either openly or in their head to the faculty, but I'm here to do your bidding today, and we'll love to hear your thoughts as we go on. To the faculty members and to the seniors in the room, my request is that if we can keep this a little more engaging. I've tried putting about 2 decades of learning out here, because Professor Dwarka said, we'll do a sit-down session, but the moment he said there are more than 5 people, I said, maybe we need a PPT to support me. So I'd love to hear your thoughts and challenge some of these thoughts as well, right? Shall we get started?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So I want to touch a little bit about my professional journey. The complex future of India is the complexity that the varied youth present to us. The youth which are entering our schools and our colleges and the workflows are far different, far confident, like you said, far engaged and intelligent. And if we have to future-proof a learning establishment, we have to understand what they are going through. So I have some snippets of what we feel in the job world, what we go through. I must share with you that in the 20 years, every organization and every role that I work, we have had a campus recruitment program, a graduate engineer program, or the management associate program. And without fail, I have been their chief mentor or guide, no matter how junior or senior I was. Because I felt that it is important to be committed to people who are coming into the workforce the first time. Right, so I have some of my snippets out there, and then future proofing or getting our universities future ready, some ideas. And there's a reason I'm putting my journey here, including education, because I thought and I feel that I was truly blessed to have grown up in not 1, 2, 3, but 8 different cities across country, and I attended 8 different schools growing up. And the reason I put it up out here is many of our students who come in from small cities, many of the students who come in changing multiple schools are a fewer cohort now. Many parents in your generation have been nested in one place. When we were growing up, we grew up in all places, which added a little fungibility to us, which is missing, and we need to accept the fact. Now, I took computer applications at a time 25 years ago when computer sciences were not there. Believe you me, I got enrolled into a program called Masters of Computer Applications, and my thesis and my specialization was neural networks and robotics. This is 25 years ago. And I gave that up to do a course in management, because at that time nobody knew about robotics. So the joke at my campus was that the last 3 faculty members who were teaching robotics were actually getting picked up by IBM for jobs at robotics, and not the students, because they knew more about robotics than us. I was lucky to be sponsored to Harvard Business School by Citibank, right? And which is my other feedback, that learning has never stopped, whether on campus, off campus. So for students in the faculty, we have to embrace the fact that as we set up an executive MBA program, we're going to have people of all ages, shapes, sizes, career aspirations coming in to further their skill and their knowledge. All right, so I spent 15 years in Citi, 4 years in Apple. I'm still the CEO of OnePlus till end of July, and I will be moving to a new startup on 2nd of August, which has a very large development center in Bangalore. So that's why that promise was easy to make, because I'll be in Bangalore very often. But there are a few things that I want to talk about, which are not the green items, but which are the red items, right? Which is something which is far more relevant today. The red items are that I did stuff outside my comfort zone all the time. But I was pushed to go outside my comfort zone. I was lucky to have mentors and teachers and guides and bosses who said, "Navneet, you know what, maybe you can become a trainer." So I joined as a technology specialist in Citibank. And after 4 years of running technology, my boss's boss comes to me and says, "You know what, Navneet, why don't you get into sales?" And I said, "Sales? Do you see me going and peddling insurance and investment in mutual funds and deposits?" He says, "If you want to know what the customer thinks, you need to be out there." And while I was doing sales, Anjali, who is the head of Harvard Business School India Research Center, she picked me up as a trainer. And she said, "Navneet, I think you speak well, so why don't you become a trainer? Train the people." So I did sales and I did training. And at that time, a very startling statistic came to the Citibank CEO, which is less than 10% of Citibank vice presidents in India were women. So they wanted to pick up one person who's non-HR to run Citibank's diversity and inclusion practice. And lo and behold, they picked me up, and my diversity journey has not stopped. So the reason I'm putting this up, and mostly to the faculty members, is this was kind of doctored for us. This was pushed to us. We were cajoled into doing things outside the periphery of banking, right? This is now naturally occurring with students. They want to have a job which gives them a good amount of money to enjoy life, go out and party, take a few vacations to, I don't know, maybe Goa, to Seychelles, to Bali, to whichever places tickle your fancy. They are not the structured 4-star, 3-star hotel people. They are the surfs, sun and sand generation.
Couch surfing.
They would love to be on somebody's couch in an Airbnb. They would love to have less than $50 in their pocket when they are backpacking across US. So going outside their comfort zone is coming naturally to them. And therefore, as faculty members, our responsibility is to understand and embrace this wavelength that the youth is coming from. And it's complex for us, not for them, right? So I moved from Citibank to Apple, and when I made this change, everybody said it's a CLM. In corporate world, CLM is a very popular term. It stands for career limiting moves, right? I was a Citibanker. I was Asia Pacific head for a segment that I founded called Digital E-commerce and Startups. It was the hottest segment at that time, way back in 2012, 2013, right? I was amongst the fastest growing bankers with offers to work in Palo Alto and Hong Kong. And I gave that up, and about 150 people under me to go and join Apple, which was just setting up something called affordability and financing in India. And from about 120-25 people, I moved into a role which had one temp under me, and that's it. So when my friends and a lot of my family members said, "What were you smoking?" And I said, "Not really, but what I saw was an opportunity to do something which was different and which was uncharted." And I got inspired, incidentally, by my younger brother. His name is Nitin. He's about 6-7 years younger to me. Chartered accountant, worked in KPMG, also joined Citibank, and then joined 3 startup hedge funds. In one of them, he worked for only 3 days because he didn't like the work culture. He didn't like the job. And here is the elder brother who's been in the same place for 15 years. And I went up to him and I said, "Bro, you have a lot of guts. I said, Bhaiya, it's one life, right? I might as well do something that I enjoy and create with my own two hands than work for people who want me to do a 9 to 5 job. And that inspired me to get to Apple. And by the way, Apple had approached me 5 years before I joined them for a similar role, and I said no to them. I said, I'm married to Citi, I'm very happy out here. Right? When I left Apple, my friends again said it's a career limiting move. OnePlus is a small baby of a company. Apple is in 100 countries, OnePlus in 20 countries. So how many of you don't know OnePlus? Okay, you know OnePlus? It's also a smartphone maker. We also make smart TVs. I don't think that's a OnePlus TV. We make smart devices and routers. We've just launched a phone a couple of days ago. When I joined, OnePlus India was doing about 2,000 crores of revenue a year, which is pretty big for OnePlus. This is way back in 2019, 2020. In December 2021, we had grown to 8,400 crores of revenue. December 2022, 16,300 crores of revenue. Because we focused on one thing and one thing alone. How do we attract the youth to take a premium flagship phone? So we spent, I had hair like this young man when I joined OnePlus, and I lost all my hair trying to figure out the youth. I'm just kidding. But this journey to work in a startup and go from 0 to 1, as Peter Thiel calls it, was something which was phenomenal. And my voice or my appeal to the faculty out here is, as we prepare students for jobs tomorrow, right? That's what 90% of us feel when we invite them to the campus, we cajole them, we'll do this career fair on the 2nd of August so that they pick up minors. We may end up failing an objective of getting them jobs. We have to inspire students to figure out the right amount of passion and risk taking. I learned this after 20 years in my career, after a 2-hour sit-down lecture from my younger brother. By the way, my dad is unfortunately no more, he passed away, but my mom was sitting there, and she's the elder in the family. We've grown up in middle class family, so I discussed with my wife and my mother, saying ki acha main naukri badal raha hu. She was scandalized. She said, why would you leave such a large company to go to a startup? And after the Indo-China tension started, she said, are you okay because your company is Chinese headquarters? I said, I'm absolutely fine. So what happens is sometimes, it's good not to listen to your parents, but give them comfort saying that, you know what, we're confident in our abilities. But our job is far more complex. Because this journey that I took in 20 years, students are going to take this journey every 2 years. We started a program called Womentoring many years ago with one of the founders of a company called Quest, which is into manpower services. Ajit Isaac and his partner, Mr. Marcel Parker. Great gentlemen. St. Stephen's, IIM Ahmedabad, on the boards of Tatas and Birlas. So we went to Mahindra and Mahindra, L&T, Tatas, a bunch of banks. And the feedback that came, and this is a good 7-8 years ago, the feedback that came was the next generation is going to switch jobs every 3 years. That was the theory. In reality, this generation is changing jobs every 2 years. They're changing industries every 4 to 5 years.
That move. Forget the jobs.
Right? So it's not job, it's the industry. So the reason I put up my journey is not to talk about myself, but to talk about this pace of acceleration is much faster now. And as a university, we can't be sitting on one side of the table observing this change ringside. We have to be in the ring with the students, facilitating that change and bringing confidence to them, saying that, yeah, switch from a job which is a high title with 150 people and go to a job where you don't even have a temp. It's fine. We've taught you well. We've given you enough confidence. Okay. All right, so this is for folks who don't know OnePlus. OnePlus makes a bunch of devices. We are 9 years old. When the government started nudging us, saying that, you know what, we need to be Atmanirbhar, and even before that, we sprung into action. And today, all our smartphones, all our smart televisions, everything is manufactured in India. And we set up manufacturing plants during COVID. Now, I'll give a very simple example. When I joined OnePlus a couple of years ago, we were 32 or 33 people. Today, we are about 175 people. And then we have associate teams, or we have 200 direct people, and we have 10,000 plus associates teams. We are about 9,000 points of sale. When the founder of a company put an aspiration to 22 country leaders, saying that what kind of a message should OnePlus put in the country, one of our young management associates, who's part of the team, fully empowered to speak her piece, she said, "Sir, why don't we have the world's largest store in India? That will be a statement, not only to India, that we are so close as two countries, but also to the Indian youth, saying that we are investing heavily." So today, if students and faculty members get some time to go outside campus, please visit our Brigade Road store. For people who are Bangaloreans, it's the old Rex Theatre, which has been torn down. Average size of brand stores is about 1,500 to 2,000 square feet. There's a new design which is coming, which is 10,000 square feet of space, right? 2 levels. This store is about 40,000 square feet. It's the largest in the world, and it talks about our brand ethos and values and design more than being a sales shop. It took us 3 years to build it up. We launched it during COVID. But this is the commitment that a young person, or this is a vision of a young person that came to life, saying that, you know what, this is the right thing to do. So in our careers as entrepreneurs, as professionals, there are going to be some very bold bets that our students are going to make very early on. They're going to start a company, they're going to think big, they're going to fail. They're going to change gears, they're going to fail again. They're going to change gears, they're going to fail again. Chances are 9 out of 10 times they're going to reach out to the faculty here, than the parents, than the cousins, than their brothers. Because this association of 3, 4, 5 years, whatever that program is, you will become their guiding post. An overprotective mother will say, "Navnit, what are you doing? Play safe." But the teacher and the friends will say, "Go and crack it." Just like that young person put a vision, I think a lot of people are willing to put that vision. Our aspiration is to be the most loved brand among the youth. And when we started figuring out what the youth want, we said they just don't want a device. They want the associated ecosystem, which is music, gaming, photography, and great technology. So on each of the 4 pillars today, OnePlus works with students in the country to bring out a program in the pillars, and we run this nationally called the Student Ambassador Program. When we kicked it off 4 years ago, we went to 20 universities, we got 40 applications. During my time, we said we need to create more energy. In 2023, we went to about 60, 65 institutions. We got 11,500 applications, and we selected 20 students. Some of the sharpest minds were working with us on business ideas on how to associate music with your phone. Gaming, is it big? I don't know if people play games on the mobile phones, but multi-level gaming over the internet, 3D, AR, VR is going through the roof. Digital photography. Gone are the days where you carrying a Canon or a Nikon camera, right? Your camera is in your hands. And great technology. The youth do not want stale technology which is 6 months old. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because it took us many years and research to understand it, but in a university campus, the moment people are, let's say, doing law, we need to understand what is the adjacency of their interest and their passion. I think Sir was talking about a student who is a RBC student.
University student.
University student who's
BBA, studying
BBA, who's done a minor and
course on
film and is created a documentary called
Death
by Grades. I would love to see that.
Short
Right.
film.
Maybe that's where your passion is. So if a university can allow you to jump and switch, that's great. I'm not going to get into business things, but the last slide is what we call success by partnerships. Today, each of these partnerships, American Express, Spotify, Uber, Netflix, Google, and many more, which are done by OnePlus, have been done by 20-somethings. We do not have a partnership team of 50 people who's going out and reaching them. Somebody had an idea saying that, how can we make Uber integrated on your app, right? And the idea actually came from a team in Bangalore, because Ola and Ubers were getting cancelled all the time, and there was surge pricing. So somebody took my reference, said, can you put your name and meet the Asia Pacific Uber head? I said, yeah, I know him, but I don't know him very well. But I told this young person that I'm happy to do an introduction. So Uber runs a program in Asia Pacific called Uber Executive Pass. That means if you're a Fortune 500 company, and if you're paying Uber, or if you're using Uber for about $1 million a year with your employees and your vendors, then you get an Uber Executive Pass, which has zero surge pricing and no cancellation. So the deal that was struck with OnePlus is that if you are a OnePlus community member, and if you're paying $999 a year, you get the same facilities. And it became a case study not in our company, it became a case study in Uber. And the person who was the India head became the Asia Pacific head, and he's now one of the global brand leaders. Right? Not out of this association, he's a smart guy, he's moved up the ranks. But all of these thoughts were not done by the 40, 50-year-olds in our organization. They were done by people who were just out of college. So my note on this is, we are fortunate to be in Bangalore. I grew up in cities that you may not even have heard of, right? Did not have that exposure. When I did my MBA from FMS, I thought the first 6 months in Delhi University, I thought I have a confidence problem because I was in Delhi for the first time, living alone, away from the shelter of my parents. Bangalore is a big city. It's not that cutthroat, but every tech company worth their salt is here. Every large player in the retail space is here. Every emerging tech like AI is here. If the students are not taking out 30% of their time away from books and meeting some of them, it'll be a waste of an opportunity to be in Bangalore. That's my personal perspective. By the way, all of them were done by young graduates in the organization. Now we come to the complexity of India, but the complexity of India first has to be understood by the challenges that our students are facing. So that's why I know there are some students in the room today. You're not the audience for this presentation.
Actually, it's a vacation.
I know.
We'll be back on 2nd of August.
I have a different presentation when you guys come back from vacation. But the idea was to give a personal view of where we see the digital youth of India thinking and growing. So first is, everything is becoming digital for our youth and for many of us, right? I have two daughters, 16 and 8. My 8-year-old daughter, so my mother is also a school teacher. My 8-year-old daughter spends more time teaching my mother, her grandmother, about PPTs and presentation and how to hook up the latest printer without a Wi-Fi connection but a hack through Bluetooth. She's 8 years old. And around 9:30, 9:45, she'll come in and she knows I have a sweet tooth. She'll say, Papa, shall we Swiggy some natural ice cream? She already knows my wallet is uploaded. And at about 10 o'clock when she's getting ready for bed, if she has forgotten to buy some pencils. By the way, the condominium that we live in, Gurgaon, it has a small grocery shop. It has a provision shop, which has, garbage bags to pencils and erasers and what have you, right? She's not going to go down and pick it up from the gentleman who is toiling from 6 in the morning till 11 in the night. She said, let's blanket it. Let's do it on Swiggy. Let's do it on Big Basket. I somehow think that this generation is, I don't want to use the word, it may be scandalous, but allergic to physical touch points. But maybe this is the reality. Maybe it's all right to be allergic to physical touch points. So physical touch points are on the decline. When we were scripting out the sales strategy for OnePlus, we said, can we go and sell 75% of products online? And all the old guys in my team laughed. And all the young guys said, of course, has to be done. Today, about 62% of OnePlus products are sold online. The crazy thing was, when we launched the television business, we signed up 800 points of sale. Because TVs in India, 85% of them are sold in stores, where you go with your family, then you make another visit, and you check the remote, then you say, Acha, this is fine, and then you ship the TV. 85% of OnePlus televisions are sold online. People have never seen our TV. They don't know how the remote looks like. They don't know how it works. And our design team started thinking, saying that, sir, we need to put a better video talking about our television features. And people don't want to call up the service center to have the television installed. So we created an AR video. If you got a television, you could download the app, put it on your wall, and it will show you step by step how to fix your TV. Unless you want some civil work, and our engineers will come in. And that's what we did. And honestly, I was stunned. So what I decided after the TV experience is that I need to be quiet in many meetings now. Because the bright ideas are not coming from the senior people. They're coming from the people who are genuinely senior about the digital world. Now in a university campus, if you're not encouraging multimodal, multi-channel communication, we're not preparing our kids, students for the next world. Gratification. The youth wants gratification now, and it changes every 5 minutes. I don't have an answer for it, but I've seen it in front of my eyes, saying that what works today doesn't work 2 weeks from now. So OnePlus and Apple run the largest media spends, apart from Samsung, in the digital and physical media space. Right? We spend crores of rupees. The difference is that Apple is targeting the 40-45 plus. Because you're selling a 80,000, 1 lakh rupee phone, you have to go and put 4 newspaper ads every month, because the old guys like me still read a newspaper. For the youth, a newspaper is a piece of paper where you have news printed on it. Many of you may not have seen it. My kids haven't seen it. They can't understand for the life of me why I subscribe to 3 newspapers and 2 magazines a month, right? But at OnePlus, the entire game had changed, because it said we need to be on Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat, not even LinkedIn, now on Threads. Does everybody know what Threads is? Yeah. So Threads, okay, who knows Threads? Yes, the youth knows Threads. The youth knows Threads. So Threads is a competition to Twitter by Meta and Instagram. And in 10 days, they have signed up 100 million users. 100 million users. So I met the Meta India head yesterday. We were on a function together at a PwC function. And she said, Navnit, I can't figure out for the life of me why 100 million people have signed up. And she's a couple of years senior to me from college. And I said, Sandhya, maybe we are old now. She said, maybe you're old, I'm not. I'm still trying to figure it out. So what's happening today is changing rapidly. And I would hope that 30 to 80% of students graduating from RV University don't look for a job. They create jobs. They start organizations which gives jobs to people. That's where your gratification will be. Zoom in and zoom out. They want relevance and bespoke relevance. If you touch upon a topic which does not tickle their fancy, they're not the Navnit Nakras where my dad said you have to learn the tables because you should know 13 square is 169 and you should know the tables from 1 to 30 or whatever, and you should be able to count in fractions. My daughter said, what for? Why? Why do you want to waste time? You have an app on the phone. You want an answer, right? Yeah. But that's not the way for me to get an answer that learn tables. So they want to learn the piano. Then they want to learn the violin. And next day they want to learn the guitar. And the fourth day, my 3-foot-old daughter has come back crying saying that I didn't get selected in basketball team. I said, because your friends are like 4.5 feet. I said, no, still I want to learn basketball. So things are changing. And what interests them today will not interest 2-3 years down the line. So the job of a university is to prepare them for that change. And if some of them zone out, it's fine. There could be some people in this room who are not interested in hearing this, it's fine. You can push them only once. So as faculty, our job is tougher. That's the complex world. We met the erstwhile CEO of Twitter India, and she talked about the most talked about tweets in 2021 and 2022 amongst the youth. Number 1, financial independence. So everybody said, I want to be money smart. Now when we were growing up, money was a taboo topic in front of our parents. Middle class guys, hand to mouth, army background. I mean, I was lucky to get into FMS where the fees was 11,000 rupees a year. And I joined at a time where unfortunately my dad was out of a job. It was hard to make ends meet. The roti, kapda, makan was the only money that you had to fend to. Today people say, roti is taken care of. My parents worked hard. And that's why I'm in RV University. Kapda, fine. I'm going to wear the same t-shirt.
Yeah, black.
Black and blue. Makan, why? Why do I need to buy? But the new era of being money smart is starting very, very early. Whether we're engineering, whether we're in law, we need to have a course on financial prudence. Entrepreneurship has hit its peak culture. I think there's more to come. Last time we attended a session with the Prime Minister's office and we were talking about a $5-10 trillion economy. That's on the backbone of at least 1,000 unicorns in India. Today we have 100? Soonicorns and unicorns, maybe about 100.
Yeah.
But they're going to be 1,000 unicorns in India. How many RV students are going to set up the next unicorn? One of the most popular unicorn, which is Google, was actually set up by PhD students and their faculty at Stanford, if I'm not mistaken. So your faculty members are not a source of knowledge, they are a source of funding as well and great advice. Passion, not jobs. when I got into the workforce, my bosses used to say, Citibank is not a job, it's your career. You make a career here. I used to hear this in my family talks because most of my family is in the army. I used to say, army is not a job, it's a career. It's changed now. No jobs, no careers. It's passion. Education is not a prerequisite. A certificate, a degree is not a prerequisite. Students who are out here, I don't want you walking out of RV University and shedding your degrees here. But learning is a prerequisite. Ability to learn is important. Satya Nadella, when he took over at the helm of Microsoft, right, and his autobiography is one of the most brilliant books I've read. I think Growth Mindset is the name of the book. He said we want to change the culture of the organization from know it all to learn it all. We want our students to be learn it all. Learning is a prerequisite. So the question I often ask in students' forums is, are you reading about 1,000 pages a day? Whether it's on screen, whether it's a book, whether it's an article, whether it's a blog. Because if you're not reading about 1,000 pages a day, you're not learning. And reading 1,000 pages means you have to sit for 6 to 7 hours a day and read. So by the way, I'm on my gardening leave, which means I'm not doing gardening. I am part of OnePlus. I've not joined the new organization, but I can sit at home for 15 days and earn my salary without going to office. That's what gardening leave is, and there are audit reasons for it. It's a corporate term. I'm reading 2 books a day. Every day. But physical books. If students are not learning, either through interaction or reading, then we are not doing a good job as a university. In fact, a lot of schools that I attended, we didn't have enough books, so there used to be book clubs and you're sharing. Now you have books. Read anything that you like. Read the Reader's Digest, read the New Scientist. Read Journal of Medical Professionals. Read technology, read law, read photojournalism. Anything which gets the brain cells firing. But as faculty members, are we pushing them to pick up their minors and forcing them to read outside their comfort zone? Because chances are they may end up being like me and after 20 years realize that the passion is actually technology, not banking. But banking was the safest job. I kid you not, when my dad saw my offer letter, and I used to make, when I joined the bank, I don't know, 4,800 rupees a month. He said, wow, what a great salary you have. He says, your and our salary is about the same. It's a matter of pride. That's what it was. Today it's not about the salary. It's about finding what your passion is. Several jobs, varied industries and multimodal. You may do a job sitting out of Goa. How do we train our kids to build trust with their managers whom they are never going to see for the rest of their lives?
If I may just interrupt you here.
Yes,
you
sir.
mentioned about 4,800. My younger brother said, I got some 3 lakh raise. I'm unhappy. I said, you got 3 lakh raise? You're unhappy? I used to work in government earlier. The government raises are not much. And
No, times have changed. I think when my dad started working in a place called Jamshedpur, he used to joke his salary was 100 rupees a month, 120 rupees a month, and his increment was 5 rupees in a month. He said, wow, go out.
Yeah.
But it's not about the money. This lecture is not about money. It's about what you want to do in life. But if you want to make money in life, then maybe you want to get into trading.
Yes, setting up a trading lab.
Fantastic. The trading lab will be successful if you put 50,000 rupees in the top trading students. And if they lose that money, so be it. Not casino. which is now attracting 28% GST, but trading and understanding how trading is. I see a few smiles there finally. Yeah. It's a bad time to run a casino business. Great time to be in a government job. You can tax everyone. Varied industry, several jobs. How do we train our students to have the ability to switch industries? Right? And that's why super specialization may not be the in thing today. Ability to do multiple things could be the future. Future proofing our university, some examples. So OnePlus ran the student ambassador program with a clear objective of getting students to contribute to music, gaming, digital photography, and design and technology. And the feedback from these students actually got tabled into an annual program called OEF, Open Air Forums. 25 people, 25 of our clients across the country, including 5 of these students, were invited. So we would do it in Goa every year, 2 nights, 3 days. The entire leadership team would be there, absolutely quiet. And people will shout and people will hurl curses saying that your phone doesn't work, operating software is buggy, this discharges very fast, this, that, everything. And everything that got tabled went to our chairman. We've been doing it for the last 8 years. Now, we need to figure out what RV University can do with at least 20 organizations and help build student ambassador programs. Saying that, guys, I have 20 students who are phenomenal doing market research amongst young gamers. And we are going to the Gaming Federation of India and saying that, guys, we're going to come out with a report every quarter which talks about the interest of gamers. I have 20 students who are phenomenal going and understanding what new agro-tech is required to ensure that our crops don't fail when there is monsoon or when there is no monsoon. Gig internships, we have to accept the fact that people will do multiple jobs parallelly. Enable it. I know there's been a huge fight between a TCS and Infosys saying that do we want gig workers, this, that. Full respect to all large organizations. Gig working, freelance working is the future. Look at organizations like Alumnus. They have a new name now. All they've done is they've created a scientific model which says, Professor Dwarika, I think you should act in a movie 3 times a year. You should compose a poem 10 times a year. You should attend classes and learn something 20 days a year. You should teach classes not more than 40 days a year. And for doing all of this, we're going to pay you. And jobs are going to get created. Okay, by the way, the 2 books a day that I'm reading, one of them is on AI. This is a myth that AI is going to destroy jobs. AI is going to kill dumb jobs. But then the students of RV University are not getting trained to do dumb jobs in the future. So you have to learn about AI. You have to learn about making the most of your time. If you're not working smart, or if you're not working hard, which is 14, 16 hours a day, doing what you are truly passionate about, and if the faculty is not encouraging you to work smart and hard and chase your passion, you're not going to be great gig workers of tomorrow. And you have no choice. I may start a company tomorrow and I may raise $100 million and say, you know what, I'm going to change the insurance tech, wealth tech space of India. Young man is going to come in. Are you a student or a faculty? Lines are blurred, I said. He's going to say, yeah, sure, I'm going to dedicate 4 hours a day to do this. I'm going to spend 8 hours doing this. Why? What do you want to do? I want to go out kayaking. I want to cycle. I'm making good amount of money. My parents have done the RPK, Roti Kapda Makan. I want to go and see life. So my Mother's brother is a traditional chartered accountant. He's in a place called Ranchi. It's the capital of Jharkhand. He's been doing chartered accountancy for 40 years. Simple tax filing, individuals, small corporates, everything. 2 boys. Younger one, Arjun, did not clear his final chartered accountancy exam. Ran from Ranchi and came and stayed with us for 3 years in Delhi. Pursuing what? Photojournalism. Dad and mom didn't know, but he had called up Delhi University, sent an application, created a portfolio, got selected. 1 out of 30 students. This is what my career is. At the end of 3 years, 3 job offers in hand. Guess what he does? Writes his chartered accountancy exam, goes back to Ranchi, is a partner in his dad's firm, only 4 hours a day. He set up his own studio. And while he was in Delhi, he was like 110 kilos, 6 foot 2 inches. He came down to 70 kilos. God knows how he started playing the guitar, started writing songs. So now I go back and he's the coolest dude in town. So for 2 years he had a beard and no hair. And he has taken a fascination to restoring bikes. I don't know how he does it. 4 hours chartered accountancy, photo studio, writing songs, going to the gym, which he apparently picked up after coming to Delhi. I think he got married after that, so obviously he was trying to create a good impression. And now he's restoring bikes. So he went on this Royal Enfield Himalayan trek. Younger brother, completely aligned to the parents. 3rd year, final attempt, chartered accountancy failed. 2nd attempt failed. 3rd attempt failed. Guess what he does? Comes to Delhi. I obviously am the favorite as well to give some yarn. Goes to Goa and researches on some microbreweries. Ties up with 3 of his school friends, 1 of his college friends, 4 of them, and sets up a place called Dhunki in Ranchi. It's the coolest place right now. Set up their own microbrewery. Who's that guy? Rock On. Who's the protagonist of Rock On? Farhan Akhtar. Farhan Akhtar was there singing on their rooftop. In Ranchi, they were charging 10,000 rupees a plate. So what is his life now? Works for 3 months, 3 months he's traveling. So every 3 months he says, Bhaiya, I'm coming over. What for? Stopover. Backpack, off to Goa, off to Netherlands, off to Amsterdam, off to Greece. I don't understand for the life of me, why does he need to do it? The father is out of sorts. I'm loving it. He's living his life. Advice. There has to be an industry university board of advisors which needs to be chaired by the student council, not necessarily by the faculty. Okay guys, I'm giving very disruptive advice to the faculty members out here. Don't repeat my words. This is for their consumption, right? But if some of the students and the alumni are not part of this council or this advisory board, I think we're missing out a lot. Research and publication is not going away. A way to develop your passion as students is to go after your favorite brands. I mean, I work for OnePlus, but Apple is one of my favorite brands. Citi is one of my favorite brands. OnePlus is my favorite brand. My career is made because I worked in these 3 organizations. But every large organization which is entering India and is going to continue to come to India needs to understand market entry strategy. And they do not want to hire the McKinseys of the world to create a presentation deck where each page is 4,800 rupees. Those days are gone. They want to come to the universities. They want to speak with smart students. They want to speak with cool professors and say, what do you need? And everybody is looking at what is called raw, ground up data, which you are publishing for the organization, not for the world. I have run at least 20 research reports on Apple and at least 40 of them in OnePlus. All of them disappointed because they went to large organizations. When we got the student ambassador program going, their research was brilliant. One of the research topics was how do we expand our footprint in northeastern states of India. So what is the general port of call? Okay, let's call PwC and let's call BCG and ask them to do a report about opportunity in Eastern India. So Ansuya Podal, who is 24, maybe 25, Nepali girl, was studying in Symbiosis Pune. We picked her up as a management associate. She said, forget the research report. Why don't we hire a bus and spend 3 weeks going through the 5 out of the 7 eastern states? And the first stop is IIT Kharagpur or IIT Guwahati, I don't even remember which college. 3 weeks, 20% of my team is not to be seen in office. Our office is a beautiful office here in UB City. Where are they? They are on the road. What did they come back with? 3 locations where we should have our stores. What was Nielsen's report? 30 locations where we may have a store. This is Ansuya's idea. By the way, Ansuya has a classic case study. She joined the product team, failed. The manager said, what are you doing? You'll be kicked out. Traditional manager. I was the guy. I said, okay, we'll move you to the sales team. Sometimes people do well in sales. Failed. Said, sir, I can't sell. Please don't ask me to speak with Tata Chroma or Reliance or Amazon Flipkart ever in my life. And he said, okay, what do you like to do? She said, I want 20 days off. I want to think. She came back, she said, I like writing. I like thinking. So she's joined a content team. Today, a lot of the creative stuff that you see comes out of a team of 3 people, including Ansuya. It's not outsourced. The ideas on the road trip were there. We've just done a, thank you sir, thank you so much. We've just done a road trip 2.0, but this time not to East India, but to the top 12 cities. Future-proofing our universities. We need to start early, not just in India but in Bharat. Maybe RV University needs to do an accelerated program in class 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th and figure out what is a great aptitude for kids out there. So I remember our elder daughter going through an aptitude test and the senior lady who did some United Nations or World Health Organization test, she said, on EQ, your daughter is exceptionally high. On IQ, your daughter is exceptionally high. She should go into medicine. I said, okay, why don't you call my daughter and catch it with her? So we didn't tell her the results. We were asked to just shut up and sit in a corner. And this young lady is speaking with my daughter. First dialogue, my daughter says, whatever you ask me to do, I'm not going to become a doctor. Discussion over. Maybe we need to evaluate what kids want to do early. And the faculty is not going to do that. You're going to do that. You need to go back to your schools. You need to talk about RV. You need to talk about the culture that you enjoy here. If you enjoy it here. If you don't enjoy it, change it. Creator economy. The Tata Group started a program called Second Innings, which said any lady who's been on a break, and typically women are on break for 3 reasons called the 3 M's. Marriage, maternity and matriculation when the kids get to class 10th or 12th. But today, people don't need to come back to the workforce. They can become creators. Our university need not be on campus with a desk and a chair. It could be in front of a laptop where a lady is creating content, teaching kids, doing something very different. And the question I end up asking a lot of corporate CEOs when I talk about diversity and inclusion, and this is my question to all CEOs without fail, is that does your mother work? The question is not does your wife work or does your partner work. Most of the CEOs are 70%, 80% are male, which is very disheartening. right? At least 50% should be women. And 99% of the time the answer is no. I feel very proud, and I've not done this. I think my wife has done it. We come from a very traditional old family. After my dad passed away, my mother and my 95-year-old grandmother was living with us. She came up to me and she said, "You know what? What do you think I should be doing?" I lost my dad many years ago. We were very young at that time. I said, "Mom, you didn't even finish college. You were in first year when you got married." So she did BA. And then she met somebody who enjoyed teaching. So they said, "You can do B.Ed." And she did B.Ed. And she picked up a course in Indira Gandhi Open University on psychology and child psychology and everything. And then we went to the Shri Ram Foundation. She said, "I want to do a 6-month Teach the Teachers program." For the last 8 years or 10 years, she's been teaching. So I'm in a family of women and girls, 2 daughters, wife works with Airbnb. Complete different culture. You don't need to go to office ever. She runs AI and data analytics for them. And my mom, who's a teacher, and 2 daughters. So the question is, can we get the senior women in our household to work? And what can we do out there? Second innings is not about women being on a break and coming back. Nobody is doing this. I have made this appeal to many organizations, many universities. I think this is a white space, as we call it in corporate India. Vocational skills, start, pause and restart. The person who's manning a store did not have the opportunity to come to a great university. Life happened. Son of a shopkeeper, son of a farmer, daughter of a shopkeeper, daughter of a farmer, did not have the opportunity to come to a big city. We are sitting here, but there is an entire generation of people who are supporting us. These are people who are delivering on Swiggy and Zomato. They're people who are manning our ATMs. They're people who are manning the stores. Our drivers and help at home. We are not doing justice as educators if we are not reaching out to them. So what can the faculty and the students do? And this is not the DPS program of Shiksha Kendra, right? No.
So example, Bhubaneswar has a program called Business on Street. So the faculty, Professor Ramana, a friend, and MBA students of example Bhubaneswar actually just outside example Bhubaneswar they have a street or series of shops and all that stuff. They do complete different kind of
Fantastic.
teaching training for these guys in terms of right from digital literacy to financial to handling the bank accounts to marketing to all that stuff.
Brilliant.
And there is an organization called SART in Ahmedabad. You might have heard of that.
I have heard of SART. What does SART do?
So SART actually trains. Initially, they started with household helps called Urmila Manager Project.
I've heard of it. Yes.
Raju is the
Yes.
one
Yes.
who does that. And now they're doing something called Business Check with a friend of mine called Ram Kumar. And they're doing 15,000 training to these street vendors, people, shopkeepers and others and training them.
That's exactly what we need to do here. And I'm saying you don't need to do it for people outside. You can do it for students who are coming in. The young lady comes in. Which part of the country are you from? From Bangalore. You're doing let's say you're doing a 4-year BTech program. Do it over 8 years. Study for 2 years, go out. Pick up some vocation skills. Work. Come back. Because that's the future. People want to start, pause, restart. And education and learning is lifelong. But this is fantastic if somebody is doing that. I've heard of the Urmila project and I just skipped my
And
notes.
that's why now DC is chasing them because they want
Absolutely.
to
I'm not surprised.
15,000.
I'm not surprised. Sorry, about the third thing, I meant to write environmental sciences. I think I was not able to replace it. But skills on the EMBA program that are worth investing in: journalism and content creation. Everybody today is an influencer. You don't need to be a journalist to be an influencer. Do you know the largest television network in the world? Any guesses? Which is the largest television network in the world? It is YouTube. It is YouTube.
Twitch is also coming.
Twitch. Far behind. Yeah, a little behind. 30,000 hours of content every hour is getting uploaded on YouTube. Somebody's creating this content, right? AI, ML, and analytics. Business analytics, coding analytics, coding AI, ML. Folks, it's here to stay. I'm on the advisory board of a few startups, and actually, incidentally, on an educational institution as well. But one of the advisory board positions that I'm about to sign up is of a tech company which does no code solutions. So you could start your next Swiggy and Zomato without a tech team, because they have a team of specialists which can code anything for you. You need to have the business savvy. You need to have the vision to make that code come alive. So it doesn't matter whether you're a coder or not. So that's why I wrote business and technical. Third item was supposed to be energy, sustainability, governance.
Yes.
It's very big. It is very big. There is a dearth of professionals. There's a dearth of writers. There's a dearth of advisors. There's a dearth of consultants. And everybody is talking about responsible earth, but nobody knows what the hell is responsible earth.
We are talking to Sofia University in Bulgaria, with whom we have a large MOU. So they run something called ESG Academy.
They run an ESG academy.
To train the European companies.
Yes, yes.
So I had a word with the dean of the business school there. So they're keen to look at our executive platform to start offering something of that sort. It's a modular program, blended, which the ESG Academy, Sophia and us could start talking to companies to do that. So last week I was at a CSR roundtable organized by the Merck Life CEO.
Very nice.
And the talk was very simple. At the same time, that there's a dearth of exposure to these things. Where people want to get trained, people want to know more, people want to know. So there is definite.
There's a burning need, and this is
people
not
are
going
not.
away.
People are not.
So we're talking to Sir. I think we made an introduction to Petronas University. They're going to invest $500 million on ESG education globally.
It's important.
For EMBA, this is a great skill. Brand design and digital media planning. This is a tough one. But today, most brands, most organizations are not outsourcing brand design to agencies.
No.
They're doing outsourcing of poster creation and what kind of media to buy on a multiplex. But the brains on digital media planning are in-house. So we work with IPG, and we work with Ujulvi and Mathur, and we work with Dentsu and Starcom and everyone. Everybody does a great job when it comes to putting posters and buying television spots and selling us IPL. But the moment you say, how do you convert that into action on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat, Threads, 80% of them have very broad ideas because they're not doing it with their own two hands. So who's doing it? The brands are doing it. But it's trial and error. Sometimes we have spent,
doing it better than the agencies.
again, it's trial and error. On the tech influencer side, some of the biggest names are Rajiv Makhni and Gaurav, who's Tech Guruji. But they're doing everything. So if there is a program on brand design and digital media planning, hold us good for the next 5 to 7 years. A lot of work is coming in-house, incidentally, in major organizations, not getting outsourced.
Our logo for our executive MBA program, the center for Minerva, is designed by our own internal team.
Oh, it is?
We rejected our agency's design and selected our.
I'm not surprised. Because the brains are in-house. So these are some skills, some managerial traits missing today in all organizations. You'll find it damn funny. Interviewing skills.